Well, hello there, everyone. I'm Keith from Keys Comics. I'm here at the beautiful Keys Comics warehouse and studio. Cindy and I, she's right over there. As always, we're going to try to show you some books. We're not going to try to show you. We're going to show you some books one at a time, and hopefully your FOMO will overtake you, and you will type claim into the comment section of the Keys Comics Facebook page for the Keys Comics Network. You can watch our show on many of our Facebook pages, and we love that. But if you want to claim anything on our show tonight, make sure you're on the Keys Comics Network page. I have a little housekeeping to get out of the way for Kaylin, our social media person. She needs some facial shots for some upcoming stuff. So here we go. All right, Kaylin, are you ready to mark it? Snap, mark it. So she said she needs some confused, shocked. This is my shocked face. All right, there we go. Hopefully those are usable things. There we go. All right, so we'll be putting up things one at a time, and we'll tell you our prize for them. You type claim, the title of the book, and the issue number, and then make sure that's in the comments of the Keys Comics Network page. That's its own separate page from our store pages, and that's where we'll be looking for your claims for. Since the cooler weather here, we've really been mining the warehouse recently. And if you'll notice, you've been with us a long time. We used to do 72 hours on the shows. We've moved that down to 48 hours because we need to get this stuff processed and out to the stores as quickly as possible, all this cool stuff that we're finding. So that doesn't mean that you can't ask us if we still have it, or you can still can't claim it. We'll just figure out a way to get it to you. At the bottom line is full transparency. We're here to try to sell you stuff. All right. Cindy, are you ready over there? Go get the fake Kelsey Grammer. Let's get the show started.
All right. Let's get this big.
There we go.
Keys Comics.
First up here, book is a conditional offering. Conditional means somebody sent me a want list. This is Thor, the mighty Thor. Power of the Absorbing Man. He got a short shrift there in that TV show a few years ago. This is issue number 206. Presents really pretty. It's just a solid, fine copy with good color strike on it. Looks really nice. From 1972, this conditional offering is only $7. If it gets passed up and sent to the store, it's going to be $10 in store. We give a little bit of a discount if you claim it here on a lot of things. That keeps us from having to process and work it. And, because we got a lot that we're processing. We have a warehouse, a 1,500 square foot warehouse, stacked, 15 boxes high and a bunch of skids. It's crazy. Full old books. And we have lots and lots of stuff. So we'd like to sell some of it. We'd like to store a lot of this at your house through the end of time. Next up. Another conditional. Thor number 196 from 1972. A fine plus copy. Wow, look at that. This is a really nice copy. Just a little bit off from the Texas patina. You can see it as you match it against the backer board behind it. But still better than we usually find here in Texas. And this is Car Tag, the Keeper. If you need to know where you're parked, check out Car Tag, the Keeper. Will help you out. Part, as far as I need a rhyming word with park for that ad just a little bit, Cindy. Thor number 196 from 1972, conditional offering. Now, just because somebody has a conditional offering doesn't mean you can't claim it. Please, if you want it, also claim it. The person who had it on their want list may already have picked one up, or maybe this is just not the right copy for them, or maybe they have premature claimation. And also, it helps me know what to put in future shows if people are claiming stuff. Car Tag the Keeper from Thor number 196 is $12. Next up.
Park Shark.
He's a park shark? Shark? I can't even say that the first time, much less 3 times fast. Next up.
Remind you all, this is Web's Day.
Oh, today is Web's Day, Cindy says. That's a Web of Spider-Man. What is that? Is that a twofer?
Yes, it is. Part 1 and Part 2.
A twofer is something that we sell at Keys Comics. It's 2 consecutive issues of back issues for $6. Nice. 2 consecutive issues of Web of Spider-Man, parts 1 and 2 of Cult of Love. from Web of Spider-Man. That's got to be mid-'80s sometime, I think. Web of Spider-Man 40 and 41 as a two for $6. Next up. Okay, so when we were working the warehouse this week, we found just a great, fantastic treasure trove of 1970s Bronze Age horror stuff. And you're going to see lots of it over the next 2 to 3 shows. And so if you're into this kind of stuff, start to salivating because it's very nice. The House of Mystery here is a 100-page giant with 6 gigantic stories, including some gargoyle stories, evidently, and a 36-page gothic novella. Issue 229 of House of Mystery from 1974. Hard to find these in high grade because the spine is literally glued on there. It's a book that's bound and stapled, just like your giant-size X-Men #1, and then they wrap the cover around and glue it onto the spine so that they get worn very easily. This VG minus copy of House of Mystery is only $6. $6 for this great cover. I can't tell who did that cover off the top of my head, but man, it's nice. Next up, Our Army at War. Wow, look at this great Joe Kubert cover. A rock coming out of the sands of someplace in Africa, I would guess. That's where a lot of that World War II fighting took place. From issue 149 of Our Army at War is from 1964. Wow, striking cover, and it presents great, even though it's technically going to grade it a VG. A 4.5, maybe a 5, but better than your average VG. From 1964, $25 in store, $18 if you claim it here during the show. Type claim Our Army at War 149 if this is something you cannot live without. Next up, Strange Adventures. During this time period of Strange Adventures, that's a Superman artist doing the front of that book, isn't it? Like Murphy Anderson, I think. Issue 236 of Strange Adventures has great reprints of some of the older, hard-to-find Strange Adventures stories. This nice, solid mid-grade copy from 1973 will only set you back $6, and it looks spiffy. Next up, whoa, Miss Marvel number 17. I think this is like a cameo appearance of Mystique's first appearance, if I'm not mistaken. Very high demand for this book a few years ago, but we ran out of them, so I don't even know. Who needs one? We got you covered. Miss Marvel number 17 from 1978. This fine minus copy presents like a charm. Will be $30 in store, $22 if you can't live without it now. Type claim Miss Marvel 17, $22. What was that? That was unexpected, Cindy. Looks like a Nick Cardy cover, I believe. Nick Cardy being one of the great artists of the 1970s, and did a ton of DC Comics covers. Have you the nerve to face the unexpected? Issue 123 is a really swell fine minus copy. From 1971, this book just packed full of horror greatness. Only $11. And if you're any kind of collector of this kind of stuff from this time period, you know these are starting to get a little pricey, especially in the higher grades. Nice, unexpected, $11. Next up, Green Lantern. Yeah, all right, we got some superheroes. Cindy was worried that we didn't have enough superheroes because of all the horror stuff that we've been working recently, so we made an effort. And look at this one. Wow, look at that. It's from issues 57 of the Silver Age Green Lantern run. I love that logo there with the green with the yellow flames on it. From 1967, this issue is $17 in store, $12 if you claim it. Green Lantern 57, claim Green Lantern 57 for only $12. Next up, Superman. What does all those S's stand for there? All those letters stand for, Cindy?
Let's see. Sensational, unusual, puzzling, exciting, rip-roaring.
Rip-roaring. Looks like they could have workshopped that for about another half hour. And none of those words had an L in it, so they were thrown off. from 1967, you can see the go-go checks at the top, the checkerboard pattern that DC used in 66 and 67. Nice oversized Superman issue from the regular title, issue number 183, but it's also an 80-page giant, which is another deal that they did back then. 1967's 193, a solid VG well-read copy, $20 in store, only $10 if you claim it here. From Beyond the Unknown, another reprint book of the classic DC late 40s and all through the 50s science fiction stories coming around and doing their stuff from 1972. Would that be Richard Milhouse Nixon, do you think?
I think so.
Like making a cameo on this book. You know, he said, I can't let Don Rickles have all the fun over there on that. What was that, Jimmy Olsen that he was on? So here we go with Tricky Dick on the cover of From Beyond the Unknown. This VG Plus copy is only $7 if you claim From Beyond the Unknown. Next up, G.I. Joe, number 31 from 1985. Ooh, Destro's got the jump on him. Oh, my gosh. 1985, beautiful VF cover on this. Man, we've been selling so many Joes and Transformers at our Firewheel Mall location. This one's soon to be out there if no one needs it for their collection. Only $10 seems like a steal. $8 if you claim it here tonight. $8 for G.I. Joe, number 31. Next up. Ooh, scary, spooky, scary. You just love that song, don't you? This from Charlton Comics, a nice, solid company from the 60s and early 70s. Ghostly Tales. It's going to have a lot of Steve Ditko in these books. And lots of other comic artists that you're really surprised how good they were. This Ghostly Tales number 88 is from 1971. Looks like a Steve Ditko cover, and almost assuredly there will be one or two Steve Ditko stories inside. This really nice Fine Plus copy is $15 in store, or $11 if you claim it here. $11 for Ghostly Tales number 88. If you're watching this show in the future, we appreciate that. Fully 9/10 of the people watch our show in the future, because you can't always be at our beck and call, and we get that, and we appreciate any time that you jump in here, and feel free to drop into the comments and say hello if you're new to the show, or hello if you're not so new to the show. If you have a comment to make, that's all good. Keep me on the straight and narrow. Add some context for the show. We're all for it. We're just here talking comics. Next up. Wow, a sensational copy of House of Secrets number 100. The greatness of Bernie Wrightson just killing it here. From 1972, well, he's literally getting killed there, it looks like, by some kind of swamp man. $30 for this fine minus copy if it makes it to the store somehow beyond miracles of miracles. Or $25 if you claim it here. House of Secrets number 100, $25. Next up. Captain Marvel. That's Captain Marvel to you. Marvel's character from the 1970s who inspired the Captain Marvel that you saw in the Marvels movie. If you maybe are not familiar with him, that's the original Marvel Captain Marvel, or Marvel, if you will. He had the similar origin in that he was a Kree soldier sent to Earth to go around doing stuff and messing stuff up, and said, I kind of like this place, and decided he was going to be a defender of Earth instead. This issue of Captain Marvel features a slugfest between the Hulk, nice, and Captain Marvel. He's got the Negabands on. If you have seen the Marvel's movies, you can see that they used a lot of this interesting ideas in the Marvel's movies, but not like they did in the comics. For some reason, they felt like they had to abandon 50 years worth of storytelling. Pablo's driving again. Nice. Welcome to the show, Pablo. Are you out getting some dinner? Can you hook us up with some ideas? Maybe some recipes. Next up. Oh, I have a conditional on that.
Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot
Someone's always asking for Phantom Strangers, and by golly, we found one in a random box. Issue number 9 with really nice, solid mid-grade copy. From 1970, The Phantom Stranger was a nice, spooky story. If you don't know who the Phantom Stranger is, you should check him out. He just walks around and gets things done in the magical realms of the DC universe. He's had his own book. Yes, that's right. Him and Mr. E going all around doing stuff behind the scenes, as opposed to the Spectre, who's just right out front and exacting revenge at being the hand of God. The Phantom Stranger, issue number 9, he's had several different origins over time. I don't know which ones they currently do. But this is they had a DC Phantom Stranger comic in the 50s. You know, I've never been able to get my hands on one, so I don't know if they use any of the same names or same characters, if it's the same character at all. Be interested to know. Phantom Stranger number 9 from 1970. This DC comic is awesome. Look at that. That voodoo. Is that a voodoo doll?
That's what that looks like to me.
I thought they weren't allowed to use voodoo on Comics Code approved comics. Maybe if they don't point it out and use the word voodoo on the cover, it's the voodoo that you do, evidently. Phantom Stranger number 9. It's only $15. Claim Phantom Stranger number 9 for $15. Next up, the Losers.
Is it Our Fighting Forces?
Yes, it is. That is Our Fighting Forces number 148, featuring the Losers. Looks like they made it out of there just in time. Oh, no. What's that in front of them? They're about to run over. Oh, the Losers never get it easy, right? Issue 148 of the Our Fighting Forces is a smoking hot VF cover from 1974. These haven't made their day yet. They're done like the Our Army Awards, where there's a huge amount of collectors. The Our Fighting Forces, man, $10 seems awfully cheap. Claim Our Fighting Forces 148 for $10. Next up, more Captain Marvel. Look at this Gil Kane. Boy, there's going to be a lot of us talking about Gil Kane, because this time period, roughly 1968 to 1975, very prolific for Gil Kane. He's the artist of this cover, and he did a lot of Green Lanterns and did a whole ton of work, cover work for Marvel and for DC. From 1970, this VG Plus copy of Captain Marvel, if you will, $6 only. Sounds nice. $6. Next up,
We've got our $1, $2, and $3 books.
what? It's time for the lightning rounds. If you're a regular on our show, you know that we have $1, $2, and $3 bins in the stores. So during the half hour of the show, we do $1, $2, and $3 books. We're just going to show you the books very quickly, maybe talk just a little bit about them so that we can crush through a whole lot of books. These are books that are maybe in lower grade. Maybe I have a big overstock on. Just freaking don't know what to do with them. So there we go. And our inability to order correctly is sometimes to your benefit. All right, what do you got, Sydney?
$2 books.
$2. More of those Captain Marvels. What is that, issue number 4?
Issue number 4 with a Submariner.
Or Submariner. Or if you prefer, Namor. Captain Marvel number 4, only $3. It's a very rough copy. Only $2. As you might imagine, it's a very rough copy. Next up, $2 for this Superman number 261, featuring Superman getting his comeuppance against the supervillainous Star Sapphire. Next up,
$2 for Adventure 371.
oh wow, what a great book. This Neil Adams cover featuring the Legion of Superheroes is just fantastic, and only $2. That's crazy cheap. Nice. Hey, Tom's here. Welcome, Tom. I think that we have a conditional in here for you. I mean, if I remember correctly, if you're the Tothomaniac, I don't know. We'll see if I marked it correctly.
I don't know.
Next up,
We got a double take.
just a double take. If anybody wants a cheap thing for a grab bag for a stocking stuffer or whatever, it got Richie Rich Jackpots. It's on its way to a store, but for $1 to Archie/Richie Rich Comics. Next up.
This is only $1 as well. No?
Only $1 for Amazing Adventures number 28, featuring Killraven. Next up,
We've got a $3 book, Tales of the Human Target number 1 one-shot cover C incentive 1 in 25.
That's a 1 in 25 ratio from the new series Tales of the Human Target, which is a huge seller for us. Why this book is here, I don't know, but what did we have originally on it, Cindy?
Originally it was $29.99.
Originally $29.99. Wow, only $3 because it's time for it to go live at somebody else's house. Next up.
Witching Hour 41.
Hey, half the Angelettas are here now, too. All right. Hello, Tom. The Witching Hour. Oh, looks like she's here to photograph death. What number Witching Hour, Cindy?
It is number 41.
Number 41 is $3.
$3.
Next up.
Number 19.
Number 19 of Where Monsters Dwell. Man, this is a great reprint book. One of the best because it features almost exclusively Kirby and Ditko monster stories from the back in the 50s. So they did this, I guess these stories were around 20 years old when they did these reprints. I was just talking to somebody, why? Because this is the same time period. DC's doing House of Mystery, House of Secrets, Secrets of Haunted House, all that kind of stuff. And Marvel's doing Where Monsters Dwell. What are the other one? Tower of Shadows. A ton of, at least each publisher had 6 to 10 horror books. And I guess, what was the big impetus of that? Was there a revitalization of the horror genre in the early 70s? It was the Hammer films making everybody want to watch horror stuff, or is it the fact that there was syndicated TV at the time, and they had hours to fill, and those cheap 50s sci-fi movies were cheap fodder to put on, so everybody started seeing them for the first time. I was explaining to our crew that if you didn't see something on TV back in our days, you just never saw it. You just had your friends tell you about it and how awesome it was. Now, if you miss something, you can just, YouTube it or whatever. Man. But so a lot of these books that we consider, they're reprints, nobody saw these books for 20 years. So with Where Monsters Dwell, $3. Next up.
Number 14.
Number 14, From Beyond the Unknown. Oh, no. It looks like baby Kong there. Next up.
Dr. Spectre. Oh, we don't have a number on it. I'll have to look.
Miscellaneous Dr. Spectre versus either Cthulhu or some kind of crazy mammoth or octopi.
Leviathan.
He's the Leviathan of the Loch. All right. I'm sorry. You just got to get your press people out there, or I won't mess up. The Occult Files of Dr. Spectre. Seems like it'd be more Cthulhu-like than a Leviathan, right? $3. Next up.
Here's a variant copy incentive. Hulk 11.
Hulk number 11, the 1 in 25. Oh, wow. That's Hulk versus a...
Incentive covers. Incentives 1 in 25? I don't know.
Well, there's 1 in 25s and 1 in 50s and 1 in 10s and unlockables. And it's even 1 in 5s. But this is one that we had in the stores for how much? $15? $3 now, the 1 in 25 ratio variant, which means I had to buy 25 copies before I could get one of these. Next up.
1970, 227.
Number 227 of Strange Adventures from 1970. Looks like a magic trick gone wrong. Only $3 though. Next up.
Number 6.
Solid. The Mod Squad comic book. If you should YouTube that. Pablo, you probably know what the Mod Squad is. I think I've heard you quote Link. But all you youngins, y'all don't know the Mod Squad. Who does it have the name of the characters there, Cindy, or is it the actors?
I know it's Julie, Link, and I can never remember the other guys.
What does it has? Their names are on the cover there.
No, it's not.
By their feet.
Nope. Just says copyright, unless their name's Copyright Thomas and Spelling.
Above that,
Collection.
right above that.
Oh. Here, I can't see. Michael Cole,
It's creator of the
Clarence Williams. These are their real actor names, and their real names. Peggy Lipton.
Peggy Lipton. There we go. She was very popular at this time period. All right, next up.
Number 361.
Number 361 of Adventure Comics, Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. Looks like they're having a spooky, scary time there themselves. Next up.
Number 19.
Number 19 of Monsters on the Prowl. Is this the one with the Russos cover, Cindy? Does it say Russos on it? on the left end of the damsel in distress.
No,
Okay. It was one of these. I'll have to.
it does. We saw it. We did see it.
Well, it was really interesting because it was Stan was going back and finding a lot of the EC artists, and maybe they had done some work for him on the side. He just knew those guys. But it's good to see a lot of these books. When you see them a bunch together, you start to realize that each of them had their own little flair, and that like Monsters on the Prowl is going to be monster books with a Ditko and stuff like that, and Tomb of Shadows is going to be really horror, like ghostly, ghouly stuff. And whereas I just always thought that it would he just picked randomly. No, these all had a theme, much more themed than I gave them credit for. Next up,
Detective number 582.
Detective 582. Got some Breyfogle goodness for Detective Comics. Next up,
We have a incentive copy of Arthur Adams copy, Invincible Iron Man number 4.
Arthur Adams doing Invincible Iron Man variant cover. Again, a 1 in 25 ratio variant, only $3. That's a nice cover. Next up,
194.
Star Spangled War Stories featuring the Unknown Soldier, only $3. Next up,
Number 8.
Crypt of Shadows. Again, this is going to be very spooky stuff, right out of the EC playbook. Nice. Crypt of Shadows, number 8, did you say, Cindy?
Number 8.
Number 8, $3. Next up,
And number 8 of Captain Marvel. That's the final
Lightning Round.
lightning round.
Oh, this is a Captain Marvel. Look, he's got his throwback. His original costume was this green and white monstrosity. It wasn't until issue 18 or 19 or 17, 18, or 19, right around in there, he busted out his familiar red and blue costume. He looked like a Kree warrior for the most of the time here in the early issues. Only $3. It's a really rough reader copy, but great Marvel history. Next up,
Okay, that's it for the lightning round.
that's it for the lightning round. Pablo, hopefully you made it home without falling asleep during the lightning round. We'll see you in the future. Next up,
We'll do some magazines.
oh, some magazine size. We had a lot of luck with the show last week, putting magazine size. Oh, we found this gigantic magazine box full of these cool Warren magazines. A lot of these I had never seen before, like this Witch's Tales issue. This is volume 6, number 2, from 1974. Great, Warren magazines. If you're not familiar, that's eerie, creepy, that kind of stuff. I did not realize they'd had a whole bunch of other magazines like this. $16 for this fine minus copy. And Weird Worlds. This looks like a pulp magazine. It's so sweet. From 1971, this is volume 2, number 4. If anybody in your life is into this really crazy stuff, these things don't come through very often. Why they were just shedding away in a box, I have no idea. But $25 will pry it from my cold, dead hands. Weird Worlds, volume 2, number 4, $25. Oh, Horror Tales. What? I don't know who that guy at the top, some kind of fly-looking guy, then you got a ghost guy. Is that guy supposed to be like a Barnabas Collins kind of situation? Maybe a Christopher Lee. That's some serious slick back hair right there. Horror Tales from 1971. See, we talked about Marvel and DC doing a lot of horror comics, and then Charlton was also doing Ghostly Tales and the mini ghosts of Dr. Spectre and all that kind of cool stuff. But there was also all of these magazines too. Here's 3 different ones just right here. Weird Worlds, Horror Tales, and what was the other one there, Cindy? Right behind that? Witches. Horror Tales, Volume 3, number 5, $20. Next up. Yeah, there we go. And this is this is Vampirella. Ooh, nice. From 1971, issue 12, San Julian cover, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. $18 for this VG copy of Vampirella, number 12, classic stuff. Back when Vampirella was a thing. Oh, really? There's some really, really, much better art than I would really ever believe in these magazines. Wow, these Warren magazines. Oh, here's another one. Weird. Chilling Pictofiction. That Chilling Pictofiction is just straight up EC adjacent. I think there was actually, that's a term they actually coined. Volume 5, number 4, Fine Plus copy. I don't even know what's going on here, but it doesn't look good for our space guy / astronaut / scientist. $20 for Weird, Volume 5, number 4. Oh, there we go. Straight up creepy with a Frank Frazetta cover. Hey now. Oh, look, it has Do Star Wars products on page 73. Creepy number 97 from 1978. This guy's in a lot of trouble. $8 for Creepy number 97, or $10 if you let it slide through to the stores. Next up, and Eerie. This is a character, the Rook, the first appearance of the Rook. And I know for a solid decade they tried to make the Rook a thing and it never really took off. But Eerie Magazine did. Issue number 82 of Eerie Magazine here from 1977 features the first appearance of the Rook. This VG copy is only $8. And you can find out, am I a Rook person or not? Next up, Savage Sword of Conan, number 29. If you have, look, it's got a Red Sonja appearance in there. Oh, I hope Cecil doesn't have this one so I can sell it to him. $10 for Savage Sword of Conan, number 29. Next up, oh, look at this one too. Chilling Tales of Terror. Man, the whole world was getting scared in 1971. Volume 2, number 4 of Chilling Tales of Terror. Wow, $24. I don't know if this was a Warren magazine. This might actually be a Charlton magazine. Some of these are, but I don't remember. I'll have to go look it up. $24 for Chilling Tales of Terror. Next up, Sick. Now, I had seen this magazine a few times before, but I'd never peeked inside of it. And this is actually a Charlton magazine. Does it say there on the right-hand side, Cindy?
Yeah.
Charlton Publications.
Yeah.
Their attempt at fighting Mad Magazine and Cracked and all that kind of stuff, except they had some really good artists. They had access to really, really good artists because they've been publishing comics for 25 years or so. Wow, some really nice stuff inside of this book. And some really slick artwork, let me just tell you. While the book itself is not very high grade, you'll be very happy as a book that you've never seen before. Sick. This is the August 1978 issue. I didn't think I ever saw an issue number. Only $6. Next up.
That's a San Julian cover.
There we go. Eerie, number 41. Oh, that's some talent right there. Look at that. This is number 41 of Eerie, $14 from 1973. Somebody's about to go to war against the undead with the undead. Next up, more Creepy. What is going on there? Issue 40 from 1971. Man, it's very rarely do we find all these, and how they would escape my notice for so long is a very sad story indeed. But to see all these in one situation, look at the red on that. That's nice. $13 for Creepy number 40. Next up,
Final magazine.
the final magazine is Tales of Voodoo. Demons and Things. Volume 6, number 2 of Tales of Voodoo. Generally, the volumes, if I understand it correctly, is every year they added a volume number to it. So the book came out in January of next year to be Volume 7, number 1. This Fine Plus copy, though, from 1972 of Volume 6, number 2. Wow, look at all that. Look, we got a Wolfman. Oh my gosh, he's taking out his brain, that abnormal brain right there. The Hunchback is carrying the abnormal brain. Nice. Is he putting the brain in or taking it out? I can't really sure.
I think he's putting it in, and that's why she's screaming, because maybe she's a bride for him or something.
Oh, okay. All right, I get it. From 1972, $40 for Tales of Voodoo. Next up. Oh, that's the magazines.
That's it for the mags.
Cool stuff. Next up is regular superhero stuff, I hope. Well, it's still scary, spooky stuff, but at least it's in the DC universe. There's 3 packages of these, I believe. Starting in 1992, this is all 62 issues. Well, actually, we found one last one. There's 63 issues. There's a 0. There it is. There's a 0 issue. There's 63 issues from 1992. 180 because issue 54 is the first appearance of the new Mr. Terrific in there, and that by itself is almost a $100 bill. This is all 63 issues from this run, and the first issue, I believe, is a glow-in-the-dark cover because it came out during peak shenanigans of the DC era. $180 in store for this 63-issue run, or $150 if you claim it here. An instant Spectre collection, $150. Aha. Oh, Star Wars, talking about Star Wars. From 1977, the comic came out. They didn't even know what they had. It was so huge. And they said, well, we got to figure out a way to get this into the newsstands and the grocery stores and stuff like that. So they made it an oversized special. This issue 1 and 2 has a few added new things. Mostly it's reprints of the first 6 issues of the Star Wars comic. And both of these, this is an edition of both. So on the one on the left, it's a Whitman edition because Whitman had good inroads into like toy stores and five and dimes. And then there's a Marvel edition of this Star Wars #1 also because Marvel had good inroads into newsstand distribution. And then when we get to issue number 2, we can see that's a regular Marvel version, although there does exist a Whitman. So this is kind of a mismatch pair, but it's good to have them both together. Issue 1 and 2, we sold them together for $25. Really sharp copies of these. Very happy to have these. And what's also fun, if you've never had a chance to flip through or read those originals, they were in the dark when they put this book together. They were working from the screenplay and from the novelization, and they hadn't seen anything. So you can see that the lightsabers are going to be a little bit different. The main characters are different, and in some cases, very different from what happened. Chewbacca, for example. But at the end of the episode, issue number 2 here, Chewie is still ripped off. He does not get a medal for all of the work he did in this endeavor. So sad. Star Wars 1 and 2, the Marvel Super Special Editions, $25 in toto. Next up. Hey, classic stuff. Action Comics, number 327 from 1965. Features an imaginary story with Jor-El-2 and Kal-El-2. Look at that. $7 seems like a great deal for Action Comics number 327. Yes, because they didn't know what the whole bill was. That's why, Tom. Next up. Oh, this is a ratio variant. No, it's not. This is the Comics Pro variant, isn't it? This is a Comics Pro variant. I had to go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to the Comics Pro, which is the national trade organization for comics retailers. And Marvel always, and a lot of the other publishers hook us up with special editions that are only given out the show. So usually these are like 200 or less copies of these are made. From 2023, this Comics Pro issue number 12 of Hulk, we had $50 in our store at some point. $6 because we can't file stuff correctly.
And usually aren't they the guests? Like this was Otley, or like so you'd meet him?
Sometimes, but not always. But generally, it'll be whatever issue's coming out. Like the next meeting is in February in Pittsburgh again. So whatever Marvel book is coming out February/March, there'll probably be a special edition of that. This Hulk number 12 special Comics Pro edition, only $6. Next up, hey, Ty's here, everyone. Fear number 1. This book goes on to become Adventures into Fear. Well, like issue number 10 features the first solo Man-Thing stories, and then issue 19 you get the first Howard the Duck, and then Morbius takes over the title around 20 or 21, and then War of the Worlds later on after that. Fear number 1 is mostly reprints of great 50s, 60s, mostly 50s stuff from Kirby and Ditko and the gang. From 1970, this very solid, nice, pretty, fine copy, $60. $60 or $75 if it gets to the store. Next up, Miss Marvel number 19. This whole storyline dealing with we get a lot of backstory in this for the Supreme Intelligence and what Marvel was supposed to be doing on Earth. From 1978, this issue number 19, right after the first Mystique had made her appearance. $10 in store, $8 if you claim it here. Next up, more unexpected. It was unexpected. Almost like Pablo is saying now, no one expects the unexpected. Spanish Inquisition. Unexpected number 120 from 1970. $10 seems crazy low. VG Plus copy. Look at that. That is super sweet. $7. Nick Cardy, I believe. $7 for unexpected number 120. Next up, Action Comics. What's going on there, Cindy?
It's just the only man Superman fears, but I guess this guy needed to know what year. First 1968, then 1967.
Whoopsie. Well, there you go. That keeps it in a lower grade though. VG, solid VG.
Superman's fearing somebody.
Right.
It's like Clark Kent, maybe? I don't know.
Oh yeah, and I was forget which one of these issues. Maybe we haven't shown it yet. But this is like Wayne Boring. Wayne Boring is the man's name that was the Superman artist for 20 years or so. He like predated Superman number 1. He actually was helping out Siegel and Schuster through the mail, keep up with their early stuff before they sold Superman, and then came over and worked in their studio for a good long time. This might be Kurt Swan, but I was just doing a deep dive on Wayne Boring, and I just was very excited to learn how important he was to the Superman mythos, because even I didn't know that. Action Comics 355 featuring a solid Superman take here on the man even Superman is scared of. $6. Next up, Teenage Love. From 1970, Strange Kisses, which follows form to our horror night here today. Teenage Love has art way better than you would expect in this kind of magazine. Charlton Comics from 1970, issue 72, $7. Next up, there we go. We got some Flash going on. We got Flash, and at this point, Kid Flash, and then a Green Lantern backup story, which I believe is Steve Dillon doing the artwork. No, I wrote it in there. It's Giordano. Nice. Issue 220 of Flash. What the heck is going on here with Flash and Kid Flash? 1973's issue 220 will only set you back $6. Flash number 220. Next up, more Mod Squad. Issue number 8, $6. Wow, that is a mod-looking book there, isn't it? Woo! Looks like the Mod Squad has uncovered a crooked cop. Next up. Oh, right. The Avengers versus Dragon Man. Dragon Man is a big cat there. Look at that. He's got Giant Man just under his arm saying, let's go. Issue 41 of The Avengers is solid VG Plus copy from 1967. You should let sleeping dragons lie. $30 in store, $20. A solid, beautiful VG copy. Look at that. Next up, The Twilight Zone. Imagine, if you will, Cindy, a comic featuring Dracula or some version of him. That's right. It's one of Cindy's favorite rides at Disney World. Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Issue 81 of The Twilight Zone from 1977. It's only $6. If you know somebody that is totally into The Twilight Zone, what a great gift this would be. Next up. 3? How could it be 3? Oh, my gosh. Green Lantern number 43. Wow. Major Disaster. Is this the first appearance of Major Disaster? I can't tell. Issue 43 from 1966. Nice, solid VG copy. Look at that pretty book. Pretty with the go-go checks at the top. $22 for Green Lantern number 43. Next up. 2. Just a smoking hot copy of Kirby's Fourth World of the New Gods. You know, I always thought that the Kirby's Fourth World was something they named it later, but here it is, issue number 4 of the New Gods, trumpeted again, right there in the middle of it. So I guess there was a concept even Kirby knew. I thought it was like something they named it later. There we go. New Gods number 4, early appearance of the New Gods. Look at that Kirby greatness there. $30 in store. This smoking a sensational VF copy. $20 if you claim it. Major Inconveniences Stepbrother. That's probably right. Next up.
Final book for tonight.
Final book for tonight.
Gonna end on a horrific note.
Oh, that's scary. Oh my gosh. Look at this. From 1971, issue, what is that?
Issue number 193.
193 of House of Mystery. Wow, that is really, it's a Bernie Wrightson cover. It's Voodoo Vengeance on the cover. VF, did I put a little tiny minus on there?
Yeah.
So it's like a 775, but man, this book has been just basically untouched for 40 years, sitting in a box somewhere. $85 if you claim this. Do you dare enter the House of Mystery and give Keith $85? Or are you going to wait till it gets to the store and give me $100? It's okay, but I prefer the $85 now, thank you. House of Mystery number 193, $85. And there we go. A little show for you on Wednesday night. Don't forget to come see us in the stores. New Comic Book Day every Wednesday. I think that we are set up for another show on Thursday night, tomorrow night, December 7th. So if you have the ability to mark your calendar, let's scratch that in there and push us in there. We're going to be sometime between 6:15 and 6:30, depending on how everything comes together. We're doing the shows a little bit earlier because it seems to work out pretty well. We can get in, get out, and then the rest of the evening people watch the show and claim stuff. And we really appreciate that if you're watching in the future. Hello, future. We love you. We really appreciate it. For Keith's Comics, I am Keith. Cindy's been with me here as always.
Been there as always.
And if we don't, yes, if we don't see you in the stores, we'll see you next time. Tell you what, Tom, we appreciate you so much. Private showing for Tom here.
All right, Tom.
Tom,
Check it out.
getting it done. What, you got one more book there, Cindy?
I do.
I wish it was one where we could talk Tom into buying, but I've never seen him buy one of these. But maybe this time. Maybe this time.
Maybe this time. Then maybe if he comes back tomorrow, we'll find that special book you.
Right. And it was a beautiful book, too. All right. What's the extra book? X-Men number 111. One of the best X-Men covers there is because there is no Cyclops to be seen anywhere. He's out probably looking around. He's probably still at the X-Mansion going, hey, where is everyone? He's not even worth kidnapping. Issue X-Men 111 from 1978. If you need a nice, solid copy in your collection that's not going to break the bank, we got you covered right here. $24 for X-Men number 111. Is that Arcane? Is this one of the first appearances of Arcane?
Is that the guy in the middle there? Looks like.
Carnival Barker. So, he's a Carnival Barker, but somehow he has all the most amazing technology to wipe out the X-Men. So I don't know. Again, he's rich. There you go. The Elon Musk of his day, I guess. X-Men number 111, $24. And there we go. There's our show. Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you in the future. Come see us tomorrow night, 6:15, 6:30, somewhere around in there. For Keith's Comics, I am Keith. And if I don't see you then, I'll see you next time.